Hello everyone, this is the second of a three-part series talking about tools that help you protect your family when dealing with online content. And in this second episode in the series, we're talking about smartphone and smart device tools that help you control access or control what your kids can see or can't see, can do or can't do with their devices. So my particular example, I'm an Apple user. I have Apple devices at home, and so my particular example is going to be mainly on iOS devices. So iPhones, iPads, Macs, MacBooks, and so on and so forth. That's what I use, and I believe Android and Windows should have something similar, but I have not dealt with those, so I can't really advise on that. You can search for that kind of material on your own. So anyways, when you set up an iCloud account for your children, you can set it up under yours, you being a parent and them being a child. In this case, I'm showing an example of three of my children. My wife is a parent or guardian on our family setup, and then my three children are minors, and so you can see that it shows them up here on the list. And this only happens when they're under 18. Once they get to 18, they can still be part of the family group, but they will no longer be restricted, or you will no longer be able to restrict what they do on their device. Anyway, so if you come back to your settings and you go to screen time, here you can go down to, you'll see your children in screen time. You can click on any of them, and you'll be able to see their activity. So you can click on see all activity, and you can then on the top right you see devices. So you can say I want it for a particular device or for all their devices. You'll be able to come down and see exactly what they did on what day of the week. You can click on it and you can see even finer details, what apps they used and for how long, and so on and so forth. So if you go back here in this screen, there are a few options that you can change. One of them is downtime. That is the time where their device will no longer be active. They won't be able to use their device. In this particular example, you see it's from 10 p.m. to 7:45 a.m. where they are not able to use their device. You can set app limits. So if they have an app installed on their device or their MacBook or their iPhone, iPad, and iPod, and so on and so forth, you can go in there and you can click on that and you can add limits. You can see right now, in this particular example, I have all apps and categories are limited to 1 hour every day, fortnight, 15 minutes a day. I know that's not enough, but anyways, they have Nintendo Switches that they're using. And so really on their iPods, they really don't need to use Fortnite, so that's why I just have it limited there. But anyways, you can go and you can set it per day, per app, how many minutes or hours you allow that app to run. You can also set communication limits where you can go in and say, I want them to be able to communicate with everyone during their screen allow time, but during downtime, so basically at night, when they're not supposed to be using their device, you can still allow them to communicate, but it's a limited list. In this particular case, I have them limited to only my wife, myself, and their siblings, so they're not able to continue, calling their friends or texting them or whatever during downtime. Okay. Then if we go a little bit down, there's always allowed. So you can allow apps to always run if they have something they use for their school or something that you want to allow them access to any part of the day. There are certain ones that are allowed. In my case, I allow them to use the messages and phone. But of course, the contact list they could use in messages and phone are limited, but during downtime. But that's always open. That way, if they need to get a hold of us at any time, it's always allowed. And then finally, you can block content and you can restrict what they can do or cannot do with their device. So anyways, this concludes the second part about setting parental controls on your children's Apple devices. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any comments or questions, and I'll be happy to help further.